I welcome you all to this online tutorial on biochemistry of homeostasis. I will be concentrating on electrolyte balance. My name is Matthew Ocheleka Itodo, a lecturer with Federal University of Health Sciences in the Department of Biochemistry. At the course of this class, these are the objectives that you will achieve at the end of the class. 1. Should be able to write electrolyte distribution in intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. Listing as we proceed. As a point of introductions, electrolyte we refer to that as what? Charged solute or just electrolyte, and they are present in body fluid like intracellular fluid and what? Extracellular fluid. This charged solute and electrolyte, they are present in body fluid. Listen attentively. There are two types of this solute. What we mean solute, we mean electrolyte, and they are inorganic solute and organic solute. What we mean by inorganic solute or electrolyte, they are made up of cations and anions, and then the organic solute are mainly anions. We all know the macromolecules that we have in the body, from proteins, lipid, carbohydrate, hormones, enzyme, etc., etc. They are all organic electrolytes. They are the source of organic electrolytes. So now we will be concentrating on what? Inorganic electrolyte, and we are starting with what? Inorganic cations. Listen attentively. The inorganic cations that are present in intracellular fluid are sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium. While the inorganic anions that are present in the intracellular are the chlorine, hydrogen carbonate, phosphate, and sulfate. Now, we concentrate on the extracellular now. In the extracellular, the inorganic cation that we have is what? Sodium, calcium, potassium, magnesium. While the inorganic anions that we have in the extracellular are the what? Chlorine, hydrogen carbonate, and phosphate. You discover that both the inorganic cation and the anion that we have in the intracellular and the extracellular, they are the same. The cations are the same and the anions are the same. Why? The reason being that in as much as they are the same, there is a one that are predominantly have a higher range in the extracellular, and having a lower range in the intracellular. That is why they are the same. So they may be the same, but their range is different. Listen attentively as we proceed. These are the medical and biological importance of electrolyte. You can see then physiological processes and what? Blood clottings. But at the course of this lesson, I want you to pay attention to what? How the electrolytes are distributed in the body system. Now, in the body system, there's a sharp differences that exist in the distribution of the inorganic cations and the anions, both in the intracellular and the extracellular. The differences is this. In the extracellular fluid, the major inorganic cations that are predominantly with a higher range is what? Sodium. While the inorganic anion that have a higher range in the extracellular are what? Chlorine and hydrogen carbonate. While in the intracellular, the inorganic cation that are majorly predominant are potassium, while the inorganic anion that are predominantly in the extracellular are phosphate. Now that will help us now to proceed to look at this table. This table is going to help you to explain it better. Look at concentration of electrolyte distribution in both in the intracellular and the extracellular. Look at it. In the intracellular, we have what? Potassium, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. And they are what? 203 milligram per dl. Chlorine, hydrogen carbonate, phosphate, and sulfate with the same number of 205. Now look at them now. What with the amount of this cation and anion, the same that are in the intercellular are the same that in what? Extracellular. But the amount of the range differs. That is what I'm explaining to you earlier. Now, that will help us to proceed to what? Electrolyte of blood plasma. Electrolyte of blood plasma. Anions in blood plasma. Listen carefully. These are the anions in blood plasma. We have hydrogen carbonate, chlorine, phosphate, sulfate, iodine, and fluorine. While the cations in blood plasma are the what? The sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, and copper. Now you discover that as we'll be looking at the range of this electrolyte in blood plasma. Now what we are looking at now, we are not talking about inside the cell or within the cell again. We are talking about all these electrolytes that are what? In blood plasma. So now let's look at it carefully. Now I want you now to look at the important in blood plasma are what? These are the things: bicarbonate, chlorine, phosphate, sulfate, iodine, and fluorine. That's what we are talking about. And then now we look at the range of bicarbonate. In the normal plasma, bicarbonate level is what? 24 to 30. Okay? And it is responsible for maintenance of blood plasma, blood pH. It is responsible for maintenance of what? Blood pH. It is also a component of carbonic acid bicarbonate buffer system. When we're talking about bicarbonate buffer system, we're talking about the extracellular, okay, in which that give a normal pH of the body of 7.4. So carbonic acid, they are all component of what? This bicarbonate buffer system. So the plasma bicarbonate level undergo changes in acid and electrolyte disturbance. Now we look at chlorine. Chloride. It is a major anion in plasma. Can you now see now? I told you from the beginning that one of the chief predominant electrolyte that you see in the extracellular, I mentioned sodium for you, and I mentioned chloride for you, and I mentioned hydrogen carbonate for you. Can you now see? They say it is the major anion in plasma with a normal range of 100 to 110, and it is required for maintenance of water distribution between plasma and cell. Means for water to move from extracellular to intracellular, this chloride play a major role. Okay, and you know the electrolyte have the same size just as water. So as the water finds its way to move using osmotic pressure, from the extracellular to the intracellular with the help of ATPase as the energy source. The electrolyte having the cell side with water, they move together into the cell. That's what we are seeing. But when there is a decrease in this chloride as a result of vomiting and diarrhea, means we say that there can be what? Decrease in this chloride as a result of what? Vomiting and what? Diarrhea. Phosphate. The normal phosphate level in plasma range is 2 to 4. And I can you now say that it is 2 to 4. Why? Why is it lower range than all other that we have been seeing? Because we are talking about what? Blood plasma. And then phosphate are the what? Bicarbonate. Phosphate is among the bicarbonate buffer in the cell. It's a buffer system that is in the cell. So that is why you see that it is have a lower range. Means in as much as it's outside the cell, the range will be very small. But if it is in the cell, it will be very high. That is why you see that the range is low, is small. So and it is used in what? Maintenance of plasma pH. And also it is a component of what? Phosphate buffer system. We continue. Electrolyte of blood plasma. Cation in plasma are sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, iron, and what? Copper. These are what? Inorganic cations that are electrolyte in blood plasma. Now, what is the range of sodium now? Sodium is a major cation in plasma. And look at it, the range of it will be what? 133 to 146. You see? It is very high and it decreases in what? Vomiting and diarrhea. And the next is what? Potassium. And the level range from what? 3.8 to what? To 5.4. It is lower as what? The phosphate. Why? Because of what? The electrolyte that is in the cell. So if they outside the cell, their range is very small. But in the cell, their range is high. And it's also decreasing vomiting and what? Diarrhea. Now, calcium. Normal in plasma is what? The normal plasma range is 9 to 4. So all the electrolytes that have a lower range in this our discussion, they are all inside the cell and in the organelles to use it for their cellular processes. But the one they have a higher range, they are what? In the extracellular. And that is the major reason.